Hi, welcome. This is going to be a fun new series going over the next couple of weeks where I am interviewing some amazing people in the entertainment industry, and we're pulling from their wisdom, their experience, how to press forward in the industry and get your project made, get your story told, and reach the audience. So we're welcoming actor, producer, director, filmmaker, storyteller, sales agent, all around everything in entertainment, Tom Malloy. I know you're going to enjoy what he has to say, and that's where I'd like you to just boop, put a pin in it. You know why? I didn't use Zoom because I couldn't get it to do a side-by-side video recording. So I bought Riverside.fm, and what a mistake that was. It was recording on the phone, and then afterwards, nothing. Not on the desktop, not on the account, not in the cloud, not on the phone. Whoa, talk about heartbreak and disappointment. So while I'm working on a refund from that, I invite you to just close your eyes and listen to the audio. I had the wisdom. I don't even know why. I was just so spurred to run the second phone and just record the audio. When you use Riverside FM, you're supposed to get multiple tracks of audio. And I thought, I'm just going to hedge my bets and do a separate audio recording in case I have to lay a track in. Well, if I hadn't have done that, I wouldn't have anything from the interview. So please, going forward, close your eyes, begin to dream, and listen to the wisdom of Tom Malloy. I hope you enjoy. Tom Malloy, so nice to meet you. I'm Sherilyn, your mutual acquaintance through Mr. Brubaker.
Yes, nice to meet you as well, and that's great. I don't even know. Jason's out of town, so I didn't even tell him today that I was doing this. He's with some family in Pennsylvania or something like that. So yeah.
Well, thanks for joining me for a film chat.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, yeah, I say cheers to the conversation coming forward. I'd love to hear all about EFM. But before you answer, can I just let all the viewers know, Tom Malloy has you're creeping up on 100 titles. Like if you add all of your credits together, it's a lot. Actor, writer, producer, film educator, and I suspect supporter of independent filmmakers everywhere. So you must be on everybody's Christmas list, and it looks like you're currently filming something.
Well, yes, there is some of the projects on IMDb probably haven't been updated yet, but there is one that's about to shoot in Nashville called Bury Him. But the rest of the ones on IMDb have already been shot. Even if it says post-production, the last movie I did was in October prior to this one. So yeah.
Again, another credit.
Yes, that's for films. It'd be 26 produced films at this point. So yeah.
Well, then let's get to the meat of it. How was EFM, and what is your personal boots on the ground experience with the state of the entertainment industry?
Well, EFM, I felt this year was exciting. There seemed to be a renewed energy. We had maybe about 55 buyer meetings for Glasshouse. And now with my company Glasshouse Distribution, which I started in 2015 as a film sales and distribution company, we have over 170 titles in the catalog that we're selling, right? So we got very good sales, and I think that there was some excitement there. Now we'll see how that translates to Cannes, which is in my little market calendar of here, which is May 14th. We leave here on the 12th. And then, obviously, AFM this year, we're at the absolute new location, new state, and everything. So it'll be interesting to see if we can carry that. But I would say that AFM in general, it was always known as a very efficient market. But this year, it just felt like there was a lot of good energy there.
That's amazing, because I personally, and this is what I've been talking about a lot in my channel with creators, and that is, I strongly suspect the industry, the independent, is at the cusp of a renaissance, because my opinion is the $200 million budget studio movie, love them, it's not sustainable. Yeah. Meaning, and this is question coming to you, if there is a renaissance for the independent creator coming up, because we know, I think what happens is people lose traction when it comes to distribution. Everybody can get something in the can, Though when it comes to distribution and getting it to the audience is where things get murky. I think there's such a chance for the independent producer, director, writer, actor to get stuff made. You work with filmmaking stuff. What do you recommend? How do they get traction on their projects?
Well, it kind of depends on what the project is, and then figuring out the elements that are going to go into that project, and then also the correct budget for it. I too think maybe there is some type of renaissance. I think we need one. I don't know if you saw Cord Jefferson's speech when he won for Best Screenplay for American Fiction. It was great to say, instead of making one $200 million make, whatever he said, he said $10 million and 20 $10 million ones, and then whatever, $4 million, $24 million movies. So, but, I think that when you take an independent film, and we say this in filmmaking stuff all the time, you go in and you have to analyze what it is. If you have an edgy drama that you personally want to star in and direct, that's okay, but that movie you should be doing for $25,000, you know what I mean? Like, and just pulling every favor in the book. But then once you get, you start doing a genre, maybe a sci-fi action or a thriller or even a family movie, maybe then you can expand the budget a little bit more. Then if you want to add cast, then you go, okay, here's some sellable cast that we can add to the project, and that would elevate that more. And so you just have to look at the film from the most realistic perspective, but no matter what, you need to have kind of 10x the value. Like if you're making a movie even for $250,000, that should be like a $2.5 million feel and the value in there. And it can be done these days. That's what's great, is that the technology is out there, and things, it's as simple as like special effects and visual effects. They could be done at a fraction of the price that they used to be done for. And so if you make something professional, you'd be in a good shape. So
when I heard that speech at the Oscars, I was Tom Cruise jumping on the couch, because I have been saying that for so long, because just always trying to sell. I feel like when Bret Michaels says ABC, always be closing. I'm not closing like Bret Michaels was closing. I'm always trying to close and sell and reach territories, get my projects out to audiences. So I love what you shared. Thank you for agreeing. I think that when we think about those $200 million budgets, as an actor, so much of that budget could be the above the line, IATSE, and below the line, getting ready to strike. Here we go. Come on. Summer's going to be strange. As an actor, what do you do about that price point?
Well, that's a good question. I did a video series for Filmmaking Stuff HQ, the membership site, that's called Backyard Blockbuster. And the reason I bring it up is that it was the idea that, like you said, above the line can go any direction and just blow up. But if you take a scene as simple as shooting like a dinner table scene, there's only so many ways you can shoot that scene. Doesn't matter if you have Robert De Niro in it, doesn't matter if Tom Malloy in it, or anybody else in it. Doesn't matter. Like it's a dinner table scene. It's cameras here and there, and medium shots and close-ups and the master shot. And so if you look at it that way and you don't think, okay, I'm making a movie for $50,000 and it's got to be in this room right here, just in my office, and it's got to have two people and that's it. And you don't think of it that way. You think of it as like, what is the most I can do for the least amount of money as an actor? Then it kind of removes that barrier of raising some ridiculous amount of money for maybe you haven't done any films, you don't have any credits yet. So $2 million, $3 million is a little tough to raise initially if you don't have any track record. But putting together $50,000, I mean, theoretically, you can piece that together in many ways, and family and friends and even credit cards. But the key is you got to think of that as you're making a movie. I never, ever, even because we've made some of those. I've flipped some of those smaller movies where I'll just finance them either personally or through one of my companies. And I never went into it like, well, I don't care what it looks like because we're doing a poster and trailer. It was always like, I want to make something good. I never wanted the budget to be the discussion about the film. Oh, it was only made for $15,000. It's like, not, that was the discussion of Paranormal Activity. It's like, no, I don't want that. I just want the film to exist as a movie, and people don't need to know what the budget is. They think it's whatever. They can think whatever they want to think. I know what the budget is. Does that make sense?
It does. It does. And that is how the budget gets way out of. Let me rephrase that. It seems like the gap between not has and has been, but there has been such a high level of budget, and there's those of us who have not been able to get near that. And so when I'm thinking about budgets going forward, possibly facing another strike, there's very little in the pipeline to actually go to the theater. If somebody is watching right now and they're like, I'm going to take action, I'm going to get traction today on my film, on my story, what do you think the first step is?
Well, so you're saying one that hasn't been made yet, or one that's
right.
That's
you haven't made it yet, but you're looking at the opportunity.
Well, yes. Again, I think you would have to go back to what kind of film do you have, and if you have the elements in place, great script has to be there. It has to be a script that people read and they're like, "Oh, this is awesome." It can't be something where it's like, "Oh, it's okay." It's got to be something where people are like, "I want to be involved with this," because that alone will just get cast and crew that you wouldn't believe just from the quality of the script. And then you market that with, or you at least attach that with a marketable genre so it's not like we always say the ones that are hardest to sell are the edgy dramas and the edgy comedies, which every filmmaker loves to make. And it's like, those are really tough to sell. So you say you have an edgy drama. You go, well, does it have to be edgy? Do we have to have the F word every, 2-3 sentences? Do we have to have this scene with drugs or something like that? And you pull that out, and maybe you change it into a drama that can be vanilla-ish, made for families, and you'll do much better on it. So, but if you're going into it and you're going, all right, I want to raise money for this movie and make it happen, then you just really have to know what that budget is based on what you want. I mean, there's so many factors to say, the amount of cast, the amount of locations, the namey cast, all those things. But again, you always should be looking as the absolute lowest price you can do it for, where you don't lose that production value.
Do you think that independent creator should work from distribution backwards? Like before we even talk principal photography, location scouting, should we try and sell it first and then go to produce it, make it, and have it ready?
If it's possible, no matter what, I think that filmmakers should go to markets, right? They should go to EFM, they should go to Cannes, they should go to AFM and make those connections, because the least amount of connection could be taking someone's business card and saying, hey, I got a film that I'm working on. I'd love to circle back when it's done. And most people are going to go for it. Yeah, it sounds great, right? Most of those places. But that's the least amount, right? At least you should do that. You've got some potential place lined up. Because so many times filmmakers, they only care about making a great movie. And I get it. That's the way I was when I first started. It was like, let's just make the best movie possible, and, success will just come. And now it's like, what is the distribution for this? Like, it's always in my mind now that I'm in that world. So, again, the absolute least is to get the business card. But the second step would be to get an LOI, have them read the script, and have them go, yeah, this is something we'd be interested in distributing. Here's a LOI, letter of intent, to distribute it when you're done with the movie. And then even on a higher level, potentially you can get some distributor to put in potentially a negative pickup deal or an MG or something like that, or some financing, so that you can make the movie that way. But it really is smart to think of the path of the movie before you make it. And that path can't be, we're going to give it to Sundance, we're going to sell it. It's like, that's not a path, that's a lottery ticket, right? And so, but going to markets and meeting these sales agents and distributors and getting those connections, that is a path.
I love that. You said MG, minimum guarantee. Do you want to expand on that a little bit? Because I think there's many of us, next to winning the lottery and going to Sundance, which, by the way, I'm curious if anybody's watching and you haven't done this yet. Sundance happens so quick. If you get picked, it's very costly to all of a sudden, in a week or two, once you find out you're in, get to Park City. Minimum guarantees. What do you think?
Well, I mean, minimum guarantees the same with a negative pickup deal almost. Like a negative pickup would be, here's X amount of dollars when you deliver the film, right? Guaranteed. I mean, MG usually is almost more of an advance when they're acquiring the film. They're going to give you X amount of dollars MG to acquire the film. And both of them, it's a little tougher. I mean, the MG with no cast is a little bit tough, right? But both of them are cast driven in many ways, as well as the quality of the movie. But I mean, for example, I had a movie that had a pretty good Twilight star in it, a namey kind of guy, and I brought it to a huge distributor partner of mine and said, "Is this enough?" You know, and they said, "Well, almost, not enough." But the script, they love the script, and so they read it because of my connection with them. Then we attached another star that had a huge 20 million Instagram followers, starred in a big TV show on then CW, and then I brought that back, and they said, and then the budget was only like 1.6, I think. So yeah, I think it was 1.6. So so they committed to 800,000, which was half of the budget, as a negative pickup like that, just because we had the cast, right? So then all we needed to bring was the 800,000. And so, things can happen quickly when you have cast attached. And that circles back to great scripts. You know, actors want to work. They want to work at great scripts, passionate people. With passionate people. So if you can get that killer script and you're super passionate about it and they read that, man, there's a lot of doors that you can open.
That feels good for anybody else listening. I'm like, it's music to my ears. It's almost like catching that unicorn. Development money. As a producer, does development money exist anymore?
Oh, without question. In fact, that's a major way to get a movie going. There's another, bringing up another course on Filmmaking Stuff HQ. We have one called Development Financing. And it's like, literally, I looked back at the movies that I'd got going and talked to friends that had got movies going. And, I mean, even on huge levels, like one of my buddies produced an Oscar-winning movie, an Oscar-nominated movie, but it won one of the awards, I think, screenplay. And, but it was up for Best Picture. And he started saying with development financing about $100,000. That was it for a movie that ultimately cost $30 million. And that's the development. So when I looked back at the movies that I got going, I went, the ones that I really got going easily or easier were the ones that I had some development financing in it. So I think that, look, it's a much easier number to raise for these people that are trying to do a $1-2 million film. It's not that hard to raise 25,000 or so, and that allows you to hire a caster, to get your budget, your schedule, get all their legal paperwork, and all those people take a little bit of salary and everything, so you kind of have a machine that's starting to move. And those projects are the ones that get the full financing easier, because now you go out and you try to attach a star. Once you get that star, that unlocks other financing. So it is a definite way to go.
I love that unicorn of development funds. I haven't got it yet, but I'm still looking for the unicorn, because development money makes all the difference in really getting a project off the ground.
Yeah, it's night and day. It's if you can get that development financing, which, like I said, it's not that tough because it's a small hill to climb. That can trigger a lot.
Okay, and that's inside Filmmaking Stuff.
Oh yes, yeah. Filmmaking Stuff Filmmaking Stuff is a free kind of blog, and then we have Filmmaking Stuff HQ, which is the membership site. But when people sign up there, there's that Backyard Blockbuster course. There's development financing, but I think there's like 14 courses now that all have digestible chunks of stuff that you can learn and watch over and over again.
Backyard Blockbuster sounds really good, because I swear we are on the cusp of independent film production renaissance, that if people can get a hold of up to 10 million, I think that we could really see some stories pop and have a lot to watch, a lot of good stuff to watch.
Yeah, it was great to see Godzilla -1, which was made for $15 million, make all that money. I think the other films in the category are all north of 100 million. It was just so great to see that. But then it's also great to see movies like Coda that ultimately won Best Picture, and were made relatively cheap. Not cheap, but relatively cheap. But the same Coda, the exact same movie, probably could have been made for $1 million, right? There was nothing really big set pieces or gigantic crowd sequences or anything like that. It was just Apple TV had enough money to throw at it, but for them it was a splash in the pan. But so yes, bottom line is, I hope and pray that there's people are going to get more creative with a lot of the stuff that they're making and be able to do it for cheaper and cheaper.
Going in that, you had mentioned crowd scene, which brings up in my mind AI. I know that so many of the striking concerns from WGA, SAG coming up, IATSE, is about AI. What do you think that can do for those storytellers, content creators, filmmakers on the smaller end of the budget?
Well, I think first off, the AI tools should be embraced no matter what. You shouldn't, I mean, because it's coming. You could just, it'd be like, if you're saying, oh, I'm going to stay away from AI, that's kind of like the people in the silent movie era that were like, oh, sound movies, no one wants to hear people speak, they just want to see images, you know? And so you really got to jump on that bandwagon because it's coming. But if there are tools, again, that make storytelling easier, ultimately, people fall in love with stories and characters and, you know, bringing up Godzilla again, I did find that it was slightly melodramatic, you know, but I think my expectations were through the roof. People, you know, there's people posting it's the greatest movie ever, greatest action movie. But what I'm saying there is all the other Godzilla movies never developed characters. And this one had characters that it developed and it kind of delved into them a little bit more. And that's why it got 100% on Rotten Tomatoes and did all those stuff. And so those character development things, now you couple that with the technology to be able to just, I mean, what is it, Sona or Sora, whatever it is, that where you could just write, I want to write a girl walking down the street in New York City at midnight, and just, it shoots it out there. So add that to the technology, but then couple that with people's compelling stories and their passion, and I think you have something incredible that can be done for a fraction of the price that it used to be done for.
I love it. Thank you so much, because I agree that what sound was to early cinema, the talkies, I think AI and Sora is to us today. And the sooner we learn to master it, use it, I think it can really elevate what those people creating in the less than $200 million budget are working in. I think it's really a tool and a helper, not something to be scared of, but I can understand it.
Yeah. I mean, there's fear and people thinking loss of jobs and all, but it's also opportunity if using it in the right way. Another thing is dubbing, is AI dubbing. Like that was always a certain cost. Like, you know, you wanted to get a German dub, it was $40,000 on your movie, and Spanish dubs were like 15, and it's like that dubbing is going down and down.
Yes.
I mean, like you could dub a Spanish movie for $1,000 now, a movie into Spanish, I mean, and German maybe 3, 4, and it's going to get to the point where you're going to be able to go click and every language in the world, you know, it's been redubbed into your movie, and then I look and I go, okay, well now I think we can get some more revenue worldwide on the movie that we initially couldn't, and that's all through, thankfully, AI.
And the subtitles too. It quickens the subtitling process.
100%. Yep, 100%.
So as we're getting to wind down here, you've been to EFM, you saw great energy. AFM is moving to Las Vegas, and I personally think it is going to reinvigorate the market. What do you think about AFM moving?
Yes. Yeah. Go ahead.
AFM is coming into Las Vegas. It's really exciting. I think it's going to reinvigorate the market. And I'm just curious, what are your thoughts? Are you going? Are you ready? Are you selling?
Oh, of course. We have a suite there every year since 2015. I've been going to the AFM continuously since 2005. So I've been going to 19 AFMs, even the virtual ones when it was canceled due to COVID. I was there. So it's something I remember in 2005 walking in and saying, I'm never missing this, right? So we're an IFTA member. So we're part of the organization that even throws AFM. So I think it was an interesting change up because they needed something. When they lost the Lowe's, they made the decision to go to that hotel last year that no one liked, and it just didn't work. And it was just a bad confluence of events. I mean, there was a big strike going on outside. It was called the Meridian Delfina, and the elevators were stopping, and it was just in the middle of nowhere. It was just bad. So I think that at that point, AFM needed something. And to me, change is always good, shakes things up. You know, of course, I have cynical filmmaker friends that are like, oh, this is it. That's the end. It's the nail in the coffin. But I like to think that, like you think, it's a shot in the arm, and maybe it'll reinvigorate it. Las Vegas, much like Cannes, is a city that's perfect for conventions. That's all it is. It's not like a real city, even though they have a little old French part of it. It's like a city made for events, right? And I think Las Vegas is that too. So I think it's more suited to do this, to do the AFM. And I think it'll probably be a real big success. I'd like to think super positive about it.
I am so excited for it. I've been to AFM several times and I loved going, but I didn't really enjoy the experience. And I think that Las Vegas is going to completely razzle dazzle, reinvigorate, launch careers, launch new industry. I think it's going to be amazing. And speaking of Las Vegas, do you ever attend NAB, National Association of Broadcasters?
Yes. Yeah. No, I don't. We've done all different markets. MIP TV. I do MIPCOM in October. MIP TV, not so much. We did last year. We were there, and then Toronto Film Festival is another one we've attended in the past, and Real Screen sometimes. And my colleague David, who's our head of acquisitions, just got back from South by Southwest. So there's always ones that we're checking out. I don't know if I mentioned Film Art, but Film Art is one that we didn't do this year, but we've done in the past. So there's so many markets. You can go to a market every month easily, and so NAB we have not been yet, but it's anything is potentially available. If I get a good, somebody really pitches me like you should go there. We're selling all kinds of movies to this territory. That's all I need usually to go. All right, let's try it. Let's check it out.
Well, I'll be there. I'll report back. NAB is National Association of Broadcasters, though, as we speak of AFM going into Las Vegas, something that NAB has done, they've been in Las Vegas for decades, and it started out as broadcast television conference, the huge cameras that you use in television, and it has grown and evolved to include very much like South by Southwest Interactive, kind of merging with South by's film. NAB does NAB Amplify, their creator studio. They have just blossomed a garden to grow new technology, new talent, new creators, mixed with, God bless them, all these old broadcasters and these old executives you got the old and the new coming together. It's a great show. It's coming up in April. It's got so much to offer. I'm just a big fan of it. And so I'll be at NAB, but I'll definitely be going to AFM in Las Vegas.
Good. Well, fantastic. That's great. Yeah. There's always, you never know what the focus of and what movies you have that fit certain things and what connections you can make. But I've never been to one. NAPPY's another one that I forgot. NAPPY we do every once in a while. I've never been to one where I went, that was a failure. Actually, one was Berlin 2020. Because it was right before COVID. Like, it was February 2020, and then March is when everything shut down. So we didn't sell anything because everybody went, are we all going to, thought,
yes,
the world was over. So other than that, I can never point to a market and say we didn't get something from it, or we didn't learn something, or we didn't do sales. To me, it was always, even the ones when I was just going as a filmmaker, even when I'd been to Cannes as just a filmmaker, I'd walk out with a stack of business cards. And I'd follow up with everybody there, and that I attribute a lot of my success in my career to that.
Thank you. You have showed so much generosity. Thank you so much for everything that you've shared. For anybody watching, where's the best way to find you? To find you for what you've created and to find you for what you're building?
Oh, that's great. Well, my production company is trickcandle.com. Trick Candle Productions. I always tell people, if I tell you to visualize the birthday candle that you put on, you blow it out, and the flame comes back, you blow it out, and the flame comes back. So it's kind of an analogy of that fire, that passion that never extinguishes. And so it's trickcandle.com. But filmmaking stuff is the main thing. That's where all the educational stuff. I even have a YouTube channel, a filmmaking stuff YouTube channel where I just give free advice and all different topics of filmmaking, and we also have the Filmmaking Stuff podcast. So that's really where the educational component's in there, and we love all our members and all the people that email us. So yeah, please check out Filmmaking Stuff whenever you can.
Okay, I will definitely put that in description. That filmmakingstuff.com is where to get in touch with that the podcast, with the email newsletter, where they can get your YouTube channel for free education, how to sign up for Filmmaking Stuff headquarters. And before you go, would you like to leave a question for the next guest?
Oh, geez, I guess that's interesting.
Ding! On the spot.
I've never had this happen. That's interesting. Like, I'm usually ready for every question, but a question for the next guest. Well, who's the next guest? Am I allowed to know who the next guest is, or do you not know yet?
Nope.
Okay. Well, let me see. What there? I guess a good question would be, where do they think the future of movie making will land with all these AI tools, with all these advancements in technology? What is going to be the future of movie making? Is it going to be just one guy at a computer, just typing away and then making this masterpiece, or is there still going to be a big creative element to it and passionate people involved? And how long is that going to take to materialize, and what's going to be?
Oh, that's an amazing question. And it's a question I love too. So I will ask the next guest, put everything in the description. Tom Malloy, such a pleasure to meet you and talk to you today. Thank you so much. This is going up and going out on the internet to help another filmmaker. Thanks so much, Tom.
Great to talk to you. Okay, Charlotte.
Bye-bye.
Okay.
And what'd you think? Was that amazing or what? Would you let me know in the comments, what are the big takeaways from what Tom shared? I know my biggest takeaway was you must keep showing up at events. Did you hear him say, even in the lockdowns, he was there on the Zoom AFM? Can you believe AFM is going to Las Vegas? Woo, child. It is about to be a whole brand new giant in the industry. I feel like there's going to be such life, reinvigoration, like Frankenstein back into AFM. And I'm really excited to visit it in Las Vegas. And in the meantime, thank you so much for watching. Please comment, like, subscribe, do the thing, and stay tuned for the next filmmaking interview.